Hi, my name is Gerhard Schwantner, and welcome to Selling Power TV. Today, we have a wonderful guest, Jaco van der Kooi. And for those people who don't know you, you are, in my mind, an architect of ideas that are very lofty and that can help people win. And I always see you as the architect that create gestalt in an area where people usually a little bit foggy. And you have written a new book.
Here's the new book. It's called Revenue Architecture. And, it is all about how we can architect revenue and revenue growth in a time where everybody is struggling, in particular in the SaaS domain, in order to grow revenue.
How do you explain the shift from sales to revenue?
Revenue is what you get out of sales, or is something that you produce, where sales is the activity of generating it.
And the architecture of SaaS companies is a little bit different than the traditional sales organization, because they have a COO that's in charge of sales, marketing, and customer success. There is a more unified kind of thinking that you now have taken the challenge and help organization create the proper foundation for that revenue engine.
When we shift to recurring revenue in SaaS, when we shift to a subscription-based model, which is generating recurring revenue, we are shifting the fundamental way how the system works. What I do is I bring revenue growth back to a series of baseline models and say, here's the structure, how your revenue grows. Here's the mathematical formula behind it. If you tweak this thing, show what impacts in the formula that you're making and see how the revenue starts growing. Historically, the way how we think about revenue is that it operates linearly. In other words, the more goes in at the top of the funnel, the more comes out at the bottom of the funnel. And the relationship between these two is considered mathematical linear. That, however, is not the case. That is there's an exponential curve, and that means that if I make gradual changes all along, I can accomplish double the revenue at the output without having to double at the top. That is what I generate with revenue architecture. And as a company at Winning by Design, that's how we help companies achieve their goals and their targets.
So when you double the funnel, you're not going to double sales.
In a recurring revenue stream, there is not one source of revenue. There's three sources of revenue. You can acquire more customers. Fantastic. Same as always, right? We're familiar with that. We can renew existing customers. And then the third one is you can expand the customers. You can grow them. When you put them together, that's what creates your growth engine. Historically, organizations have structured themselves in departments. The problem is that the more money they get, through funding, or the more the faster a company grows, these companies start to act and behave very much like silos. Even the functions within these companies start to act like silos. In order to break through that, recurring revenue, what we are going for, is not the result of a single department. It's not the result of just sales. It is, like I said, it has three sources, and it is the result of the entire system operating. In other words, you got to look at it from the customer perspective. Hey,
how do you make this happen?
Number one, recurring revenue is the result of recurring impact. If you, as a service provider, don't deliver the customer the value, the customer is not going to renew it. Number two, once you take a look at that, you have to notice that recurring revenue takes place outside the purview of the marketing and sales funnel. We have to extend the funnel, and we call it into a bow tie. We flip it, we add another part to it, and it looks like a bow tie. And number three, you're not going to get there overnight. You got to make iterative improvements over time. You make it step by step, make small steps, make small progress. And you do that every month, one part. And then after 6, 12, 18 months, you're there.
So what you're saying is you need to shift your perspective from a funnel model to building a revenue model, and that is outlined in your book.
For the longest time, we missed that. For the longest time, we drew a funnel, and then at the bottom, a little bit of lines, or people just scratched something. But today, that seems to be a more reasonable. The bow tie, you need to spend as much time after you close the deal as with a customer as you with before a deal. And don't forget, closing a deal takes months. But getting the revenue out of the customer and profit takes years.
Who is your biggest client at this point?
The big names are the DocuSign and the Dropboxes. Those are like the big names, like companies that are running large scale and operations with hundreds to thousands of sellers. There's businesses that we also consult for, that we do the consulting work for. So like Insight Partners is a company with a large amount of portfolios of companies that go public, that are on the road to go public. And so for us, an Insight is, for example, a customer that we are very close to and helping them succeed through the portfolio companies.
So besides going to Amazon.com and getting your book, where can people learn more about winning by design? And when they go to your website, what should they look at?
And generally typing in Jocko and then sales, you will get to one of the resources, but www.winningbydesign.com will always work. Lots of the things we publish in the public domain, we're very open and a company very love to share our insights. So much of this is available for free. What I think that what is missing here and what people don't understand is the importance that we are having of two things: events in community. How when these communities meet, whether that is online or whether that is in person, that is where actually the future of marketing and selling lies. The whole market is worried about AI these days. And so for you to organize an event for your audience, and I think it's scheduled for December the 6th and the 7th, where we're all talking about AI, that is essentially where the activity is happening. And people go spend the time in these communities, get to know your peers, offer help to each other, help each other. And so I'm extremely excited for you and your community to be well positioned for the years that lie ahead.
Thank you, Jocko, for educating us. And that was a really fun interview.